Welcome to the Wildflower Seeds Block-of-the-Month Sew Along. I'm Cindy Cloward and I am so excited to be sewing along with you. We have a beautiful quilt that is featured behind me. It's made out of our Riley Blake Designs gorgeous Expression Batiks. The first thing you need to do is get the pattern from your local quilt shop to sew along with me. Kits are available at select quilt shops and online retailers. This is what the pattern looks like. The Wildflower Seeds pattern is designed by one of our very own designers, Kelli Fannin. We're using our beautiful Expression Batiks, like I mentioned, to make this quilt. Each month features one block. However, we'll be making that block multiple times. So, after you buy your pattern, you get your fabric, you need to download the Wildflower Seeds Supplemental Fabric Guide. It takes you through each of the blocks we're working on. So we are working on flower number 1 today. There's a block 1, block 2, 3, and 4. So let me show them to you. This is block 1, is this orange color. Block 2 is the aqua. Block 3 is this purple, and block 4 is this multicolor. All beautiful flowers. Flower 1, it's our first flower for this month, but you get to make it 4 times. And I'm going to show you how to make the aqua colorway. So it's a great quilt block to start with. Throughout the pattern, Kelli does this flip and turn method. And once you learn the technique, you probably already know how to do it, it's going to come together rather easily. So you've got the pattern, and it's Kelli writes her patterns in black and white, or shades of gray. So the pattern is written in those black and white. So for you to see the color, you're going to want to go to our Riley Blake Designs website and download the supplemental fabric guide. And it's all in color. And it takes you through each flower, and it lists, even by SKU, the color of batik that we used. So you get clarity of all the fabrics we're using for which flower. So let's get started on this pattern. I'm going to put this to the side. In fact, I'm just going to slide these under here for now. And I've already cut out all my pieces. We're ready to start assembling this quilt block. So in the pattern, she calls these fabrics A, and they have all different sizes. So just pay attention to the details of what square goes with which other square. These are the B squares, and this is our C fabrics. So let's begin. I'm going to start creating this unit right here. So you'll notice this unit is a long rectangle, and it's got these 2 wheat squares on both the top side of that unit. So what you're going to need, and throughout this pattern, everything is flip and turn. So once you get this technique, you probably already have this technique down, you are going to be really good to go. And then I grabbed the wrong square, so pay attention to which square you're grabbing. And you're going to, if you don't have a Seam So Easy guide, now I really recommend it for this, you're going to have to mark your fabrics corner to corner. Or some kind of guide. You need some kind of guide. Otherwise, you're going to have to mark all your flip and turn fabrics. And that is your sew line for the entire method throughout this. Your flip and turn method, that is your sew line. So you're going to grab your rectangle and you're going to put it on there, and that's going to be your sew line. And when you, so I'm going to do one set of that, and then I'm going to come back and put the other square on the other side, and it's going to go opposite. So I'll just show you that. Going to be the mirror image. So you can see that. So you do have to pay attention to that. It's going to make this peak right here. So up here, and when we go back, we're going to sew on the other side. So we're just going to lay these out. Okay, let's take it to the machine and sew. Put that right on the corner. Now I do use, let me show you, these Microtech needles. I get the medium size, under 80. If you get the higher size, they can kind of mess up your threading tool. So, because there's so little, the hole is so little. So get 80 and below so you're easily able to thread your machine. A nice sharp needle. Then I also change my stitch length to 2.0. So you can play around with that, but I feel like that's the best stitch length. We have a tighter weave fabric in our batiks, and you need a little tighter stitch length. So I do a 2.0. Okay, so I'm gonna line that up. That is going to be my stitch line. I'm gonna move that over here. And Kelli tells you in the pattern to do a scant less on your fabrics. So let me just tell you how that works. So you got your line right here. I just go like tiny, tiny bit on the outside of that. So when it flips, it's going to be resting right on that corner. And when you do just a scant outside, you're gonna have a really good flip and turn corner. So there is your tip there. Scant, 1/4 an inch, and on your flip and turn, you're gonna be slightly a hair to the outside of your marked line. If you're using your Seam Sew Easy Guide, I just put my tip just slightly to the left on there. So I'm just right next to my marked line. Okay, let's bring it back here. I grab my scissors, we'll clip in between, just like that. Okay, now it's time to trim down to a 1/4 inch. See how that goes up there? Check all your blocks. Okay, you can either go press them right now. I think I'll wait and I'll just sew the other side on. Again, it's really easy to see it if it's already marked, but you're gonna sew from corner to corner, just a scant to the outside. Okay, let's bring it back here. And again, if you wanted to trim it all at the same time, that would be perfectly fine to do. But there, take a look. Let's trim the other side. Then we're gonna go take it and press it. Okay, let's take it to our pressing station. And let's press this open. All right, these 4 units are finished. Now we're gonna grab our squares. And actually, since we can chain piece the center block the same time as well. Now the pattern tells you that the small squares, well for this one it's gonna take small squares. This is gonna take 4 small squares to make that one. And then this one is going to take a small square as well. right, let's take all these to the machine and we can just start sewing. Now again, mark these corner to corner with a marking tool. Or you could use your guide. I'm just sewing a scant to the outside. I'm going to repeat it on all of these squares. Okay, those are all finished. I'm going to wait to trim all my corners at the end. So we've got all those lined up. Now we're just going to work around the corner on this one. So that's ready to just right around that entire square. Now for this unit, let me show you this unit right here. So you've got this small square on top, and then you got these two larger squares on each side, opposite sides. So now you are going to you're going to be sewing a square on each side like this. So we'll do one at a time and corner to corner, corner to corner. And we'll just chain piece these all together. Just like that. Okay, here we go. Okay, we just have our next block to add, our next square on top of our, so we'll just line that up. I'm going to grab this last one. I'll finish up. All right. I started with this one and then I ended with that one. So that is all done. Let's clip in between. Now before you trim down, again, just a reminder, the small square should be in the center and the two larger squares should be on both sides of that. So that looks good to go. I'm gonna get my rotating mat. Love this one, designed by Sue Daly, because you're just gonna go around the circle trimming your little unit. There you go. Okay, here we go. Okay, that is ready to go. So now we're going to take all these units over to our pressing station and do our flip and turn. Got our center. When I do that, I just kind of work one side, turn it, and then I kind of work the other side. Got a nice press. Again, let that cool down. If you want to add a little mist or turn your steamer option on your iron, that's a good time to do that. And it's really important to press it open. That's what that unit looks like. So let me just hurry and finish the rest. Okay, now that these little corner units are finished, let's start laying out our block. That's an extra piece. So they're gonna go opposite like that. And you notice you've got these two rectangles like this. So you get the shorter one and it goes on all the side pieces. And the side goes here and here. So we can take it over here and you're gonna sew that side piece on first. So you can pin it. You can flip it over like that and pin it. If that's helpful, or I just kind of scoot it into place. There we go. I'm gonna grab each of these units. And chain piece them all at once. Okay, I'm going to take these to my pressing station. I'm going to keep them in order because I worked around the circle. So I'm going to press them one at a time. Well, I can flip that open like that. Let it cool there. So we went around the circle. That went there, that went there, there, and there. Now we're going to add our last piece on. Again, if it's helpful for you to pin it, go right ahead and do that right now. Just going to work around my circle again and chain piece the last of the rectangles on this corner piece. Press. There we go. Okay. These corner units are officially finished. And now we just have kind of a 9 patch. There we go. Take a look, make sure everything's facing the right direction, and let's put our block together. So I'm going to flip this inside unit to the outside. You can pin at the top here, but you can also just take it to the machine and kind of ease it into place. Make sure everything's lined up. And again, you're going to use your scant 1/4 inch when assembling this block. Okay, let's open it up. Looking good. This is where I do pin, because once you've got this attached, because I don't cut my threads in between, it's a little more fiddly to take it to the machine. Right, let's take this to the machine and sew. Oh, we got our 3 rows sewn. So now we just gotta sew these 3 rows together. So that wants to go to the outside. So we're gonna flip that to the outside, this to the center, nesting our seams with our little bird pins. We've got it all going on. You could press right now, but I'm just gonna finger press those open. And since I'm right here, I'm gonna nest these seams as well. Those are gonna go to the outside. Outside here, inside. Just like that. Let's go sew our last 2 seams. Okay, let's take it to our pressing station. It's the big reveal. Let's take a look. It's looking good. I'm just going to give it a little mist. Give it a little press. Set those seams. And let's open it up. Getting right there in those edges. Oh, that's looking so good. You can press. Now I'm going to press the back side of this real quick. And then let's open it up. I just moved it along, but I got to be careful because I don't want, since I add a little water, I don't want to stretch my fabric, so. But it is looking so beautiful. I have a few threads here. I'm going to just clip off. Look at that. Last thing we need to do is trim it up. Make sure it's 12.5 inches. We got our trim it ruler. This is flower number 1. Okay. So really, there is just a lot of threads that I'm trimming off. It makes a big difference if you use a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance. Your block, if it's cut accurately, sewn accurately, comes out beautiful. So it's going to be so much fun to sew along with you. Again, this is flower number 1, a great flower to start with. The colors are amazing. And as always, I welcome your comments of what works for you when you're working through this pattern. So join me next time for flower number 2, where we continue on the Wildflower Seed Block of the Month sew along.